What is going on to all my Atlanta fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, MovieFiles. Elliot back again, breaking down this final episode of Season 3 of Atlanta titled Tarrare, a crossover episode between Emily Goes to Paris meets Moon Knight. We got another celebrity cameo to break down, and we've been asking this question since episode 2 of this season. What's going on with Van? Now, we'll be discussing that and so much more in today's spoiler breakdown review. But before we get into it all, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to the channel and love early movie reviews, TV breakdowns, and live streams, well, come and join the community today by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. As you all can see on the screen now, if you enjoyed what I had to say about this last episode of Season 3 of Atlanta, well, make sure you're liking the review as well as sharing it. But more importantly, sharing your thoughts on the finale in the comments, from funniest moment, most ridiculous moment in this episode, moments that didn't work with you all or maybe didn't resonate with you all. And of course, I told y'all, if you watched the stream I did on Sunday, there was a post-credit scene. And if you're just hearing this for the first time, yes, there's a post-credit scene. Go check it out. Come back and join the conversation. But once you've seen it, what does it mean for this season, but also what does it mean for next season? And of course, share your thoughts on what you hope to see in the final and fourth season of Atlanta in the comments below. But hey, we have a full slate of topics, from breaking down what's going on with Van, Alexander Skarsgård, Hands, post-credit scenes, season 3 thoughts, what I hope to get in season 4. But before we dive into all those discussions, I have to take the time to thank every single one of you all for supporting these videos these last 10 weeks. It's been an incredible journey that we've been on these past 10 weeks. And the fact that there are so many other great content creators on this very platform that have been covering this very show and been doing a great job of doing so, the fact that you all would watch my videos, click on them, number one, like them, share them, and more importantly, engage and comment with the videos, because this is what I built this channel on, was having fun. The whole idea of this channel is like you're talking with a friend, just having a good old time in doing so, talking movies and shows, but also I want this to be a safe space. I want you all to feel comfortable, share your stories, and the fact that you all did that with these reviews, it means a lot, and I loved reading the comments. I tried to respond to as many as I can, but it was just so many great ones that unfortunately I just couldn't get to. But the ones I saw with the predictions, the theories, I know I mispronounced things, I missed things. Some of you all were nice about it, some of you weren't, but hey, it's the internet, right? But neither here nor there. The personal stories meant a lot. The fact that you all felt comfortable doing so and sharing those stories and how you resonated with the story or resonated with the particular episode, it means the world to me. So I do plan on making more videos about this season. I also want to invite you all. We had it on Sunday. We're going to bring it back this Sunday. The live Atlanta after show discussion breakdown. We're going to be talking about this 10th episode. Last week I had my homie Brandon from Just My Opinion Reviews. Hopefully he can join me again this Sunday, and maybe we'll get a couple other guests to join us as well. It's such a fun time. We broke down an episode. We talked about the pros, the cons, the thoughts, the theories, the divisiveness of this season, and we're going to do the same thing this Sunday at 12 p.m. So I hope you all can join that live stream discussion. And again, thank you so much for the support. But hey, we have a lot to discuss, a lot of hands to talk about too. Full spoilers ahead as we open the episode meeting Candace, her homegirls. We got Shanice and Zosha, and they're on a business trip. Or I should say, Candace is on the business trip because she's going to be selling her PP for $6,000 to this gentleman. Hey, everyone has their thing, right? As she mentions. But let's, they're there to have a good time. They're there to have a crazy time. And Van does not disappoint. But let's backtrack a little bit. For you all that don't remember, Candace was in season 2, episode 7, which was titled Champagne Poppy. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that she appears in this episode, because in Champagne Poppy, number one, she's always dating some, it seems like she's chasing clout. She seems to be a good person, but she seems to be kind of focused on, who she's dating at the moment. In that episode, it was a DJ who was DJing the Drake party, who he never appeared in that episode. But in this episode, she's selling her pee. But we'll talk about her. I like Candace, but it's not a coincidence that in that episode, Van was going through it. She was going through a recent breakup with Earn, and she's trying to fill that void, right? Trying to get that picture with Drake to kind of keep her mind off of that. And speaking of her mind, we see that continuation in this episode, that right now she's broken. She is going through an identity crisis, and we'll talk about that a little bit much later in this review. But I love that we get a reappearance from a character that I had fun with a season ago, and now she makes a return. But speaking of Candace, she's talking with her girlfriends. Literally in mid-conversation, she stops and she is just like looking as if she's seen a ghost, and that ghost goes by the name of Van. And listen, Van, she's like, oh, what? I don't know who you are, wee, pee, pee, go. But she eventually acts like, oh yeah, I know you. And I don't think it's a coincidence that she was buying meat at a meat store. I think that was foreshadowing for some hands a little bit later. But as we get back into it, let's talk about Van. Number one, Zazie Beetz has been phenomenal, and she is great in this episode. I love that we finally get to spend a little bit more time in her headspace, because we've been asking the question, there's something going on with Van. Like, you just don't go out to Amsterdam with your daughter in Atlanta, and we'll talk about that too in regards to why can't she go out and just free her mind and kind of clear her mind and kind of rediscover herself. We'll get into all that conversation a little bit later, but we get that question answered in this episode, and I really thought Zazie Beetz was great, and everything that we've gotten from her, season 1 with the value episode, Champagne Poppy, Helen, has kind of led to this episode, and I thought that Zazie delivered in the performance, and it's a new Van, new hairdo, new accent, and everything going on with her was fantastic. But I mentioned how I felt like this was an episode of Moon Knight, because we see Candace talking about she ain't French. I don't know why she acting like that. She going through it. But I say Moon Knight, for you all that don't know, it's a Disney Plus show that tackled DID, a character that had multiple personalities. And I was thinking, like, is she going through DID? Because she is literally acting like she's a whole new person. She's acting like Stephen Grant in this show. For those that have seen Moon Knight, know what I'm referring to. And if you've seen Moon Knight, were you getting those vibes from Van this episode? Let me know your thoughts there. But Van has taken them to what appeared to be her apartment. And I say what appeared to be because we're going through the apartment. Candace is seeing that she's been on, Chic Paris magazines. Like, damn, you've been doing this the last few weeks. She has pictures in her house. She has, her phone's blown up. She seems to be very busy. But I say it appears to be her apartment because Candace is trying to see what's going on, see how you're living, but Van wouldn't allow her to go further past than that, where she was at in the house, which makes me wonder, was there someone in the bed? Was that even her apartment in the first place? Like, maybe it was her apartment for a couple days and she bum rushed someone's place. Because listen, Van has been throwing people in the pool. She's been stealing wigs. She's been stealing jackets. She's been going to people's death doulas and talking to them. She's been doing some interesting stuff. So let me know in the comments, did you think Van actually lived there, or it was just like she was crashing someone's house? Let me know your thoughts on all of that. But getting back into kind of the production aspect of this episode, which this episode was directed by Donald Glover, who's been doing a great job directing this season, from the stuff he's written as well as directed. The Amelie vibes, right? Now, I have seen Amelie to a certain extent. I never finished it. I fell asleep during it. I saw it during college, which was many years ago. It wasn't me falling asleep, wasn't anything to do with the quality of the film. It's a great film. I just was tired. And I've always said I need to revisit it, and I didn't. But now after watching this episode, I definitely want to revisit it because what I do remember from the movie and from the trailer, there's a lot of correlations to what that character was doing in her film and what it means to Van in this show. But I really enjoyed that aspect. The score was great. The capturing of, Paris and all that stuff was beautiful. But we are now time to run some errands, right? You want to come with run some errands? Seize the day, and the first task on hand is ruin a celebrity's career, and that celebrity is no other than Alexander Skarsgård, who's dancing to Ashanti. Are they still dating her and Nelly? Like, where have you been, Alex? He's dancing. He's like, hey, you want to get naked? And they're like, I'm good, but you can go ahead and do that. Listen, I am an Alexander Skarsgård fan. I mentioned in episode 4 that I told you all about that article about Ryan Gosling, who was supposed to be in this season, but there were some scheduling issues. I bet you, and I thought it was going to be him in that 4th episode, I bet you this was the cameo that he was trying to make that he couldn't. But I love that Alex was in it. Big fan of his from movies and shows, especially with TV work, whether it's Big Little Lies, True Blood, as they mentioned. The final season of True Blood wasn't that great, but everything else, Eric Northman, great character. He was in Succession most recently, and also for film fans out there, Viking, Revenge Story. If you haven't seen The Northman, go check it out. Fantastic film, but a great actor doing his thing in this episode, which I just had such a fun time with seeing him. But as he's dancing, doing his shenanigans, we see Van and Candace is in his room, and help me out, guys, because this might have flew over my head. She's planting drugs, and not just soft drugs, like kid drugs, teenage drugs. She's planting coke and, crack in his bedroom. And she says, oh, don't worry, it's a game we play, dancing with the devil. He likes this to play games. But she's there to get the keys, which ties into her next stop, which is the hand drop-off drug deal thing going on. But again, was it just as simple as the scene alluded to? Like, she's just effing around, this is her new life, this is shenanigans she's into, or was there something more deeper to what she was doing in Alex's room? Let me know your thoughts on all that as they're leaving his suite, and he's like, "You're so cold, Vanessa, you're cold," and they're like, "Hey, I love you," and I don't think it's also a coincidence going back to Alexander Skarsgård, who was Tarzan. I think that leather print underwear he was wearing is like a little Easter egg for Tarzan fans out there. But let me know if you enjoyed his cameo in this episode as we cut to them making their next stop. Like I said, she has the keys for this next errand, and they're in Cabrini Green. For my horror fans, as they mentioned, this feels like Candyman, and they were 100% right. I was definitely getting some Candyman vibes as we see Van is there to pick up a very mysterious package from Emilio, who clearly has screwed her over. She's pissed. She's mad. There are some weird dudes walking up to him. One of them looked like Fetty Wap with his eye missing, and they call Van the title of this episode, Tarrare, who, for you all that don't know, let's just get a little bit into the research part of this review. Who is Tarrare? So I'm going to leave the link in the description below. There's some really crazy stuff about this individual, but long story short, this is a man who ate a baby. Yes, I did not make that up. He ate a child. He is a French showman who turned to a soldier, and it is noted that he had a very unusual appetite by eating literally anything. And I told you all, his eating habits were very, very crazy. I think he passed away at 17. He was like only 100 pounds, which is just crazy because he literally, like, he ate a lot. And the things he ate were like, literally, he was a showman. So he would eat like coins and like silverware and just crazy stuff. He ate a cat, and he ate a baby. A baby. Yes, it is very crazy. So what is Tarrare? What does it mean for this episode? Why did they name it that? I'm thinking in my head, it correlates to a couple things. Number one, we see how Van is like, she's a showman of a certain extent. Like, she's doing all these crazy things. She's interacting with these celebrities. She has this kind of under the belly, dark market, selling hands on the market thing. So it kind of might correlate to that aspect, as well as this kind of getting to, but did Van, those hands, I know it was in baby's hands, but did she take the hands of one of those guys in the group? Like, did one of their friends get their hands taken off and Van took them and they knew about it? I don't know if there's a correlation there, or connecting to the fact that, again, the character Tarrare ate a baby, a human baby. What else did he eat? Did he eat hands? And that's why they're correlating to the hands that are people eating at the dinner party a little bit later. I don't know. What did you all take away from Tarrare? Again, I'm going to leave a video to learning more. Maybe you don't want to watch it because it's very disturbing, the individual of the name of this episode. But let me know how that correlates to this episode, your thoughts on all that. But now it is time, since we know that Emilio screwed her over, she is going to check him with a baguette, which we're going to get into here. But I don't know if you all noticed a cool little Easter egg while they were going up to meeting Emilio. There was a paper boy poster in the background. Again, Emilio, he is not happy to see Van because he screwed her over, and she wants the mystery package that we'll get into, as Van, like a Sith Lord from Star Wars, takes out her baguette and like a lightsaber and starts beating this man. She left her baguette out for 6 months, and this is the result of it. It is like I said, a lightsaber, and she is beating the mess out of him until he ultimately gives her the location of the package, which, again, we're going to get to that package here because our next stop, and let me know how you all like the scene, how it was framed, how it was put together. Van is a badass. Like I said, if you all have seen Deadpool 2, her playing Domino, and I hope we get to see her more in that role. She was kicking ass in that scene. And again, when she buzzed at that baguette and was just beating him, like I said, like a Sith Lord from Star Wars, that moment was ridiculous. But let me know what you all thought about that. But we're now at our final destination. Our final stop is the hands party, not the house party, but the hands party here, as Candace has had enough of all these wild shenanigans, and she's just like, there's something going on with Van. But her homegirls are like, we like her, we like what she's doing, she ain't hurt nobody. Well, she did beat someone up, but they probably deserved it, right? So they're like, we want to stay home, girl. We want to stay, Candace. And we see Candace attempting to try. She's been trying to talk to Van this whole episode, but Van's been kind of pushing her off. But she finally tries to get a little moment with her, but that's unfortunately interrupted by Mr. Skarsgård, who's like, bravo, don't you ever pull that off again, because I almost lost the Baby Shark movie, which I thought was just, what are you talking about, Baby Shark? But he is mad, but Van doesn't care. She goes ahead. Now, I hate when people spit in people's faces. That's the most disrespectful thing to do to anyone, in my personal opinion. She spits in his face, and it's just running off of his face. And he goes in the bathroom, and let's just say he wants to relieve himself. So the fact that someone like Alexander Skarsgård could come on this show and just kind of have fun with the show, it just makes me wonder what other cameos we can expect in season 4. What did you think about Alexander Skarsgård? What did you think about the whole game they were playing? If it's something I'm missing, is it like a rumor that Alexander Skarsgård like hangs out with random people and, beats off to them embarrassing him? Let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. But now let's go to Candace meeting Van's boyfriend. I think his name was Marcel. They're making out. She's lying again. She's like, I met her. We were stripping on a carnival or something like that, or a cruise. Just lying again. And Candace just wants to know what is going on with you, and does Earn know you're here? Did your parents know you're here? And all that different stuff that she's going through. And this is where Van kind of takes a moment to say, I mean, you're the fancy one. You're out here in Paris and you're selling your pee. What makes you different, right? And she has some validity in that. It's like, yeah, why are you judging me? Worry about your own self. You're out here selling your piss in Paris and you worry about what I'm doing? I definitely understand where Van's coming from. But it is just kind of important to kind of know. I'm thinking to myself this whole time, like, damn, what about your daughter Lottie? And then I thought to myself, like, damn, Elliot, you didn't ask yourself that question when it came to Earn. Like, now this is how my mind worked. I was just like, well, Earn's out there to, support his daughter and, maybe help out Van every now and then. But I immediately went like, why is Van out in Amsterdam? Why isn't she, mothering her child? And it speaks to what this character's going through. Like, and we'll talk about the end scene, but like, she needed a mental break. Like, I'm not a parent, but obviously I commend someone that just takes a break from themselves and just kind of reevaluates and kind of recalibrates himself, and I applaud that. But again, we'll get into that a little bit later. But I was just kind of thinking to myself when they were talking about that, and she was like, you're the fancy one and you can't control me. And again, just thinking about the Van character, not that she's, controlling by Van or Earn, but there was this sense of like identity, right? She is known as Earn's baby mama, Earn's girlfriend, Lottie's, mother. She's not Van. She's not the person, right? And that's what we've been kind of seeing in these previous 2 episodes. So she's searching for herself. She's trying to fill the void. She's going through a mental, midlife crisis, if you want to call it that. So I really kind of appreciated that moment as we kind of cut to Candace, and she's realizing we've been chasing hands this whole time, which cuts into this. There was a movie that came out on Hulu earlier this year. Well, it came out in the festival last year. It's called Fresh. I don't want to give it away, even though I kind of gave it away there. But let's just say there's a lot of correlation to the hands in this episode in that movie. It's a really good movie. Check it out on Hulu if you have the stomach to do so. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I mentioned in there with the stomach. But we see that her friends are eating these hands with a side of cornbread on the side as they are preparing this meal for their guests, and they have to put the napkins on their head. And I'm like, wow, there's some weird stuff out there. There's some people with a lot of money that does this type of, I don't want to say it's weird. It's weird to me, but, to each their own. Or, people want be peed on, people eat hands. I don't do it, but some people do. So there's that aspect. As Candace tells her, it's okay that you're doing this, but the question I have for you, Van, is what about your old life? What about, your mom? What about Earn? But more importantly, what about your daughter, Lottie? And she's thinking, she's like, you gonna have Lottie eat hands? And she's just like, I want her to move here. And then she just kind of looked at what Marcel was doing, cooking these hands. It's like, this is very weird. This is not normal, Van. Again, it's weird to someone like myself who's not exposed to this type of like behavior, but she kind of like almost snaps out of this kind of dream-like state, which we know a lot of this season has been like people have been in dreams. And I correlate what Van is going through very similar to how I relate that to what Al's going through. Like, Al's having an identity crisis too, right? Yes, he's living his best life. He's out here partying, going on tours, whatnot, but he still, which I'll talk about when I break down when I hope to season 4, he still doesn't know who he wants to be as an individual. And I think that her, Al and Van, that's a pairing I would like to see kind of tackled more in season 4 because they have a lot in common. They don't know who they are right now. So I love that moment where I don't love it because it was very sad to see, but I love the performance by Zazie Beetz as she is just having a full mental breakdown. She's destroying everything that she can get her hands on in the kitchen, and she is just, at this point, She's upset. She's lost. She doesn't know who she is, where she is, and she just wants her daughter, right? But meanwhile, while that's going on, Shanice and Azosha is realizing that they're eating hands, which Alexander's like, oh, little hands. Only like gripe I really have with this episode was I felt like when they was like, oh, I'm eating hands, like that was a little bit like over the top. Like the acting to me was just a little bit unnatural. But that's like the only gripe I have with this like episode regarding performance-wise. So now let's talk about it. So we break from all the craziness and all the absurdity and the shenanigans, and we hear Van out. She talks about it. You had this dark cloud over, a couple weeks ago, which to me it seemed like it was months ago, but she said it was weeks ago. When she was in Atlanta, she was driving and she closed her eyes while driving, alluding to she just wanted to like end things, right? Which is, again, we talked about the personal stories. I mean, I think we've all had mental moments in our lives where we're just like, especially like, I'll just speak for myself, turning 30 years old, man. I'm in my 30s now, and it's just like from when I was younger to where I'm at now, it's just like some things, some goals you accomplish, other things you look at your close friends or family and like, man, I wish I was doing this, or I thought when I was younger I would be in this position, and it can be depressing, man. And I think what I took away from that moment is just like as she talks about, Al's out here on his tour, Ern knows who he is, hell, Lottie knows who he is, which I don't think that's the case. The child has a lot to develop, but I understand what she was getting at. It's just like she doesn't have purpose right now, right? She's a mother, she's an ex-girlfriend, but what else does she want to be? Has she accomplished her goals? She wanted to come out to Paris because she saw a movie. She wanted to emulate Amelie's life, which again, that film, from what I remember, that character wanted to implement herself and make other people's lives better, which in return kind of helped her through her self-isolation. Correct me if I'm wrong, that for those that have seen the film, but correlating that to Van, she wants to create this new life. She wants to beat people over the head with baguettes. She wants to have sex and, do crazy chapades with Alexander Skarsgård. She wants to buy hands, cook hands, and do this job and marry this man who her family wants her to marry. So she's doing that, right? So she's searching for who she wants to be, which I think is the big thing that we've gotten for Van. And I go back to episode, season 1 with the value episode and her friend, how she valued men, how men viewed her, and why she's just chasing a dollar versus finding love, and how Van was, trying to get into this relationship with Ern, who wasn't in that position in his life, which, I always thought Ern was just like, dude, Van seems like such a great catch. But correlate that to her episode where she wanted to get high. She smoked drugs, which in effect, she lost her job. And then going back to Champagne Poppy, and then going back to her Helen episode where she is like her identity. She doesn't know exactly, is it her traditions? Is it being a mom, being in a relationship, being a woman in Atlanta? I mean, there's so much that she has on her plate that I really appreciate this show kind of showing us, right? And I really hope, and we'll talk about it later, as far as continuing that narrative with Van. It's not easy, it's not easy, and I love that aspect of what the show's given us as she's, getting further into, she picked up Lottie. She got a sense that Lottie kind of felt that she had did something bad, and she just felt like a terrible mom at that point. And, that ties back to, I don't know if you all noticed too, she's talking around the water, and we know that there's like this theme of water in this season, pulling you under, drowning you essentially, right? We got that from the very first episode with 3 slaps this season, so I think there's some connection there. But, she felt terrible. She goes into how she immediately booked the flight to Amsterdam. She blacked out when she got there, which if you go back to this season, episode 2, when Darius went to go pick her up, she's just like, she said she lost her luggage. I don't think she brought her luggage there. I literally think, as she's telling Candace, she booked the flight and just went to Amsterdam and kind of blacked out and just found herself there. Hence why she didn't have a coat, clothes, or anything. And she's stealing stuff in this season because she didn't have any stuff, during that time, which kind of explains all that stuff, but also explains kind of those random things she was doing because she's just lost. And going back to that episode 2, when she was talking to that death doula, she told her, you're where you're supposed to be right now. So that is the big, thing of this episode and Van this season. She's on a journey to discovering where she belongs, who she is, who she wants to be, is something that I really took away from this episode as she's crying. And Candace, again, shouting out to her, regardless of her dating stuff, peeing on people, whatnot, but being there for her. And then they say it's time to go home, which obviously leads to season 4 is going to be back in Atlanta. But let me know. I said a lot there. And again, I just really resonated with that because I've had moments in my life, and not saying it won't happen again, but there's moments where you're just like, man, who am I? And even the most confident people out there that you might see on this platform, on TikTok, on Instagram, everyone has their shit. No one has it all figured out. Even the most successful people, they have their days. So it's just something that I really resonate with, and really appreciate this show took the time to kind of tackle that theme, of just kind of identity crisis, right? So let me know how you all felt about that as we wrap up the episode, and we end with Shanice replacing Candace, and she goes to do the job because it's $6,000, and I thought it was like very poetic as she's standing up, like, traditionally women sit down when they pee, but she's standing up peeing in this man's face, looking at the Eiffel Tower, which I don't know if I'm stretching right here, but again, just role reversal, a man standing up tall, Eiffel Tower, alluding to that particular anatomy of a man's body, but reversing that to a woman as she's just looking out at Paris, peeing on this man who eventually is choking on her piss. Cut to, which I thought was a great song to play, Ludacris' song. What a great ending, but hey, we have a post-credit scene to briefly discuss here, because I think I want to make another video diving a little bit deeper in the post-credit scene, but just kind of talking about it here. We cut back to Atlanta. We're in the A. Earn is back, and he is missing a bag that is not his. He's like, this isn't my bag, bro. Cool, whatever. I got to go into my next job. But we cut to Earn. He looks at the label. It says Ernest Marks with a phone number on there. And let me know if you called that number. I didn't. Maybe I did. But let me know if you all called that number on the package tag. He opens the bag, and we see there's prescription drugs. There is a photo frame that we'll talk about here in a second. There is a Def Ones, which is a metal band t-shirt in there, which I think is funny, like Def Ones, tone deaf. Something, we had a lot of tone deaf moments in this season where people were just kind of, ignoring certain, social commentaries in this season. But then the camera pans out as Earn leaves the room and pans back in, and in that photo frame is White Earn, who we've seen in episode 1 and also episode 4. And the last time we saw him in episode 4, if you guys go back to that episode, he told Marshall he lost his luggage, but we also find out that he left his family all to kill himself, shoot himself in the head after, the reparations episode. So what does that exactly mean? Well, again, I'm going to make a separate video diving a little bit deeper into what it can mean for not only this season with whiteness being a curse, white guilt, but also how that can maybe pertain to this whole dream parallel universe. Earn, white earn, black earn. Does it correlate? Is there foreshadowing for things to come? We'll talk about that in a future video. But let me know what you all thought about that post-credit scene and what it can mean. Will White Earn, come in season 4 as a ghost? Let me know your thoughts there. But getting back into just overall thoughts, and we'll talk about this more on Sunday. This was a very creative season. This was a very bold season, in my opinion, tackling, like I mentioned, white guilt, whiteness being a curse, which is the concept of that is so unique, like white people not knowing their benefits and kind of being cursed of not knowing how they have white privilege and things of that nature. Just so fascinating. I know this was the most, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but just based on my comments in the comment section, this seemed to be the most divisive season for a lot of people, because I think ultimately a lot of these solo, standoff episodes, which correlated to this particular post-credit scene, and I'll make a video about that, about, again, was it a dream? Was it really going on right now? But, tying that into what's going on with the divisiveness, I felt like there were episodes that they didn't relate to the themes or didn't experience certain things, I think was some of the divisiveness, and just the fact that we've been missing these characters for 4 years, and we had 4 episodes in which we didn't spend time with our main character. So I know that was a bit different from people, but the more I've looked back at the season, which I have revisited this season before making this video, this season was great for me. I know for everyone it didn't work, but I thought this was the most creative, boldest season. It's not my favorite. I will have another video about that, but I overall enjoyed that particular theme, narrative, performances, direction, story, creative choices, taking Atlanta, the people out of Atlanta, and bringing Atlanta to overseas in Europe. I thought that was a fascinating concept, and I'm going to be making a rankings video ranking all 10 of these episodes of this season. But that's just kind of my general thoughts on the 3rd season. More to come on Sunday. Season 4 predictions. I want to see Paperboy tackling his identity, because that's something that we really focused on this season. Will he continue to be Paperboy? Season 4. Let me know your thoughts on that. And what does what does that mean for Earn? And obviously Darius. And hopefully we get another Darius solo episode. And tackling the identity stuff that Van's going through. And again, will white urn make an appearance haunting our black urn? That's something I'm looking forward to. But hey, so much more to discuss this Sunday, 12 p.m. Central Time. Come and join the live discussion, answering your live questions on the chat. Hopefully I can get a nice group of special guests to join me on that panel. And again, last thing I want to mention to you all, and if you all stuck around to this point of the video, I appreciate you. I was thinking about this the other night. I don't want to end these conversations. I really enjoy talking about Atlanta because I haven't covered Atlanta on this channel up until this season. Let me know in the comments. I always leave like a pinned comment on every single video. And it's normally like, hey, what'd you think of the episode? Check me out on these other outlets. I'm going to put in the pinned comment down in the description below. Do you all want to have a weekly, not monthly or, every couple weeks, once a week, we come together as a community, Atlanta community, and we start from scratch. We start from season 1. We watch it all the way in its entirety every week. We watch episode 1, 2, 3 every week. We watch season 2. We rewatch season 3 leading up to season 4. If that's something you want, and I would assume we might do it like Thursdays, like every Thursday. We'll pick a day. We'll figure all that out. But let me know in the comments by saying yes or just saying no, or just let me know your thoughts on this. Every week we come together as a community and we do a weekly watch along live, watching all the episodes leading up into season 4. If that's something you all are interested in, let me know by, again, clicking the pinned comment and letting me know in that thread if that's something you all be interested in. I'm thirsty. I'm tired. Extended video, like I said, but I love this show. I love engaging with you all. I appreciate all the support. If you stuck around to the point of the video, make sure if you haven't already to like, share, comment, subscribe. Come and join the community. I read the analytics. I appreciate you all watching these videos, but there's a lot of you all out there that watch these that haven't subscribed. Just give it a test trial. Do like a 7-day trial. If you don't like what you see here, you can go on and, support other people. But come and join the community. Thank you all again for watching these reviews. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you on Sunday. As you can see on the screen now, come and join the community. Check out all of my Atlanta previous reviews. Check out my most recent review, and we'll catch you all on the next breakdown.